Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maryam Bay, and I'm the host of television, and I'm so happy to be here. And I'm so happy to have Robin back on again. Before I go into the show, I want Robin to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Robin Williams. I'm a mother too, and I work for Newark Police. I'm a dispatcher for 8 years, and I have a nonprofit, Constant Justice for Youth Change. I'm the president. Tony Elijah is the founder, and I'm just here to enjoy the day and talk with Miss Bay.
Thank you.
Wow.
So this is part 2. You were on about a month or so ago, right?
Yes.
And I got so many likes about you. So I said, you know what? We got to bring you back on to do part 2.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, because people were able to relate to what you were saying about what you went through in life and how you are now sitting here being a testimony of what I call a success because of everything that you went through, looking so beautiful and stuff. You know, got those beautiful earrings and necklace on, you know, got the bling and stuff. Okay. So we were talking about domestic violence,
right?
How you were faced with that at some point in your life.
Yes.
And you shared with the audience how you were able to go through that, or as I say, grow through it, because as a result, you've been able to help other women go through what they're going through in domestic violence. So you want to share with the audience some more today for us?
Well, I'm just going to piggyback on domestic violence, just a little touch of it, because I was very, I explained everything last time. What I'm going to touch back on that is with our youth, because the youth are hurting very bad. And a lot of it is because of domestic violence or what's going on in the household.
Yes.
And it's not just their mother or their father, they're in relationships that they didn't think out going through domestic violence. So I'm here to try to see how we could come up with a solution to get them out the streets, because by me working in the police department, I'm not going to elaborate too much because we can't.
Right.
It's just that it's a lot of stuff going on in the street, and a lot of our youth are doing it.
Yes, that's true.
We don't have no control of anyone, and you can't keep blaming the parents. It starts at home. Yes, we know everything that we do starts at home. That's the alpha and the omega. But there's not one parent that's a parent tells their children to go out here and hurt someone, or go rob a car, carjack a car, or do drugs. No parent in their right mind, even if a parent went through that themselves, they're not going to tell their child to do this.
Right.
So all of us have to understand we're getting older. Mm-hmm. We either have to try to pull them in now while we still have spunk to move around, to talk, to listen. And that's one of the problems that we have as adults. And because we're from the old school, sometimes we don't listen. Mm-hmm. We just say, well, if you do it this way, it works. But sometimes we got to let them, travel through their own journey. Do we catch them? Yes. Mm-hmm. When we see them going sideways, we pull them back. But you still have to let them search and see who they are and find themselves.
Right.
We can't pick their friends for them.
Right.
We can't even pick their relationships, whether male on male, female on female. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that society has really deterred everybody from, it's a lot of things that society made everyone accept, whether it was right or wrong, whether it's religion, relationship, jobs, everything. Mm-hmm. Even through the pandemic, people are doing things that they never thought they could do again. And a lot of people became self-employed now. Mm-hmm. When you see a lot of the people became vendors.
Right.
No matter what they chose to sell, it's selling. It's selling. So with our youth, it's becoming a health issue and a mental issue.
Yes,
but
definitely.
And it's not, everything is not always drugs.
Right.
So, like, every time you see a child acting out or rebellion, the first thing the school will say, oh, ADHD, want to put them
From
on
special ed.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not the problem.
Right.
You just trying to pacify the problem with, you know what, I'm going to tell his mother or his father he's too hyper, so I'm going to put him on medicine. But now you have this child that's an active child, now they're quiet all day.
Because they're drugged.
Right. Now you making them become addicted to something that they didn't never even need.
Exactly.
Because you never got to the root of the problem.
Exactly.
You just say, oh, he's disrupting the class or she's disrupting the class. But did you ask the parents what's going on? Or did you ask the child? It's a lot of kids hiding things. You know, they're scared to come out because they don't want to be taken away.
Yes.
They don't want to tell on their parents. And it's understandable.
Right.
That's understandable. But somewhere we have to get these kids to understand when you between the age of, I'm just going to say 14 to 25, if you make one mistake, that can destroy your whole life forever. You might not go to jail, you might get probation, it doesn't matter. But when you become 35, 40, and you might want to purchase a house, you might want this nice job, but you can't get it because once you turn 18, you are an adult. So they can go into the adult file 18, your youth, they could keep that closed, but they're not thinking. And nobody's not helping them think that way. You know, everybody just keeps saying, oh, this generation is just so, yes, they are. So we have to go around all that and see how we can pull them in. You know, we just can't keep blaming the parents. You can't keep blaming administrative because they're not outside. Me and you not outside.
Right.
So we what we gonna blame ourselves for? You know, so in the schools, the school about to start back, even the school, whether it's charter, public school, Catholic school, private, to me, they all should sit at the table together.
Well, I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. But the issue is, what are people's intentions?
Well,
because if the intention is to label these young people that are out in the streets as troublemakers or as the problem child, they're going to continue to, in some cases, allow them to do this. Because what happens, because you mentioned that, you just mentioned something. You said that they can make one wrong decision and the next thing you know, they're in prison.
Right.
Okay? And so, to me, that plays a lot into it because prison is a form of people getting paid.
Right.
Okay? And when we talk about the educational system, we have so many issues going on inside these schools that it contributes to the education, to the prison pipeline.
Yes, it does.
For them. So we have a big issue that we need to address, and in many cases is not the children's fault.
No.
You know, it's the environment that they live under, and I think it's also the fact that people are just letting it happen. Like for example, we need more resources in our community for our children.
But at the same time, the few resources that we do have, they don't use it.
You just said something key there too. You said the few.
Yes.
We have over 300,000 people in the city of Newark.
Right.
Okay. The few.
And the few that we do have, they're not taking advantage of it. So sometimes we have to sit back and say, if they're not using the few that we have, why add more? But that's just on a generalizing, not blaming anybody, not saying anybody's wrong. And then another thing is, just me and you friends, and we live on the same block. I may not want to go to the same group that you go to.
Right.
Because I don't want you to hear what my problem is. So sometimes we might have to branch out and send, okay, we're going to have this 25 go here.
Right.
And the other 25 going to go to, say, West Orange.
Right.
All the surrounding communities have to work together because you have children that live in Newark, East Orange, Irvington, West Orange, Bloomfield, Patterson, going to Eatontown and robbing their cars. So it's not just a Newark problem, it's an Eatontown problem too. So if your resources is not being used on a daily basis, then this is where you team up as the municipalities and say, you know what, we'll take 10 of your kids from the city, bring them to Eatontown to therapy or whatever. Maybe if they see a different environment, just the outside, not have to live there. If you get on the train, when you on the train and you ride on the train, you see so many different
communities.
Right. And sometimes when you was little, even in the car, like, oh, I want to go there one day. And you do. It's just, this is just my opinion. I'm not directing it to anyone.
Right.
It's just like you have some children that they steal cars. That means they can drive. Some of them 14, 15, 16. They could drive. They like to ride on their motorbikes. So I just feel like we can sponsor, say, 2 kids. Okay, they like to drive, they like to ride their motorbikes. They have competitions, with the dirt bikes, with the race, they race. We could start 2 off. Everybody in the city could fundraise to send them to maybe say just Texas. I don't know if they do it in Texas. I know Arizona they do. Where we could sponsor 2 children. That's 2 children that we say, okay, you like to drive. So put the negative driving into a positive driving. Where they in competitions. They training on them trails. That's just one aspect of a solution. They can become mechanics.
Mechanics?
Well, fix the cars,
right,
build the
yes.
cars. You understand? My thing is...
Well, that goes, but see, that goes to how people are directing them.
But this is why my fight... Just like with our nonprofit is Constant Justice for Youth Change.
Yes.
We underground, meaning we just getting started.
Yes.
So our goal is to help these kids find who they are.
Right.
Regardless of what your mother say, what the schools say, you sometimes have to sit down and reflect on yourself. Even a child has feelings. So we have to challenge them. Well, why do you feel like doing this today? And a lot of them can tell you why.
Exactly. But see, a lot of that should be taking place in the schools as well.
Well, we only can say but so much because it's so, it's so broad.
Right.
And, everybody, it goes back to what you say, where I agree. What's the objective?
Yes.
Everyone has a secret agenda. Everyone.
Yep.
You could stand in front of a crowd and say, I'm going to paint every street yellow. Because the people that you was talking to like the color yellow. So if I know you like the color yellow, he like the color yellow, I'm going to paint your whole block yellow. They happy, yay. Now we go down 2 blocks down and we tell them we're going to paint your block yellow. Oh, no you not, no you not. I don't like yellow. So it's so many people that are chameleons. They fit in with the environment. Like we in here, so let's say if somebody come in here and they don't know what's going on, but they see all the bright lights, see everything up here. Oh, let me see. They'll fit in where they think they do, but not knowing we already see through you. And this is what people don't understand. If you're a real person, you can see through anything.
Right.
Now, it's up to us as a real person if we feed into it.
Right.
And sometimes people will say, you don't know, you don't say nothing. Sometimes silence gets you further, And with these youth, it's like, just especially I have a 28-year-old, 31-year-old, my stepkids, stuff like that. And my son just lost his best friend, his They brothers.
Through how to?
He did.
Was it violence?
No. Not through gun violence.
Okay.
Through his own mishap.
Okay. Oh,
Right?
okay. All right.
Not to go through all, just through his
Right.
own mishap.
Okay.
And my son, 5:30 in the morning, called me on the phone, screaming, hollering, and he said, "Mom, I'm in front of your house. I'm in front of your house. I need you to come open the door." Like, just gone.
Yeah.
That because this was somebody
That was
that was
his
so
best
close.
friend?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was crying because he was hurt so bad, but I had to keep my composure as a parent to get him to calm down. So because he was hyperventilating, I thought I was going to have to take him to the hospital. And this is another thing, as us as adults or people that's in places, these youth, when they lose one of their friends, it don't affect them the way it affects us.
Oh no, absolutely.
Me and you could cry, deal with it, and keep going. Some of them can't.
So they resort
To whatever,
violence.
right, to whatever.
In a lot of cases. So
Yes.
what I want to ask you then, because we talked about the domestic violence, how does domestic violence affect youth? Like, how do you think it's affecting them?
Emotional. See, domestic violence starts emotionally first and verbally. Doesn't start physical at first.
Okay.
Physical comes when that person that you keep breaking down start ignoring you or start talking back to you.
Okay.
Now the abuser becomes aggressive.
Okay.
Physically, because it don't start out physical.
You're right. Yes.
It doesn't start out physical because if any of us, somebody hit you, you're gonna hit them back. That's just a natural reaction. So when the person is in domestic violence, that's why it takes so long to understand that you even going through domestic violence, because you think you just arguing with somebody. You know,
Okay.
like me and you have an argument right now, and okay, you go upstairs and I stay down here. All right, we ain't saying nothing, it's over. But it's one of us, that whoever's going to be the abuser, you gonna come all the way back downstairs and say, yeah, and you just keep it going and going, and then you like what you saying. The other person's like, come on, it's over. This is why you don't realize it until you deeper in it. And a lot of these kids got a lot of that locked up in them.
Yes.
A lot.
That's a lot of the anger that they
yes,
have.
because they saw it. They could be 14, but they saw it ever since they were 7,
Right,
8,
right,
9,
right.
10. Then you have a lot of these kids are getting molested, exploited. You think these kids just got up and started doing some of the stuff they doing, even in relationships. Some of them don't even know what they're doing, but this is what they saw, this is what was done to them, and this is just say, well, I guess this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
You know, not that you accept it or reject it. It's all according to how you feel, whatever. Nobody doesn't care until it happens to their child. You see everybody say, oh, this is what I would have did. You don't know what you're gonna do until it affects you.
Right.
You hope that you have enough sanity to say what you would do before it happens.
Right.
But you don't. None of us do. You know, and these kids need to know that we're not looking down on you. We're not judging you. We just want you to make better choices and take responsibility for your actions.
Right.
If you choose to do right, you do right. If you choose to do wrong. But don't hold nobody else accountable for what you had time to think about.
And don't bring in innocent people.
Right. And then it's getting to the point where nobody is caring about the next person. Oh, me and you sitting here. We not bothering nobody. And he's the cameraman. Now, he ain't tell us he went outside 2 days ago and shot up that apartment next door. But now he in here working like everything okay. God walked past, see him, bam, bam. Now me and you dead, but we don't know nothing he he didn't tell us
Right.
nothing. You didn't warn us, you didn't say nothing. Because now me and you had a choice to say, well, we don't need you to be the cameraman because
Right.
we don't know what's going on. Because now our life is in jeopardy. And that's what we have to stop these youth from, stop taking people's lives for granted and their own. Stop taking your life for granted. Nothing is promised to us. We don't know when we're going, how we're going, and what time we're going. But while you're here, you have to make the best of it. Domestic violence is everywhere.
And see, that's one of the
Everywhere.
reasons why I just said earlier, a lot of this need to be taught in the schools.
But now, the only reason why I'm going to counteract what you're on that, you got to remember, some parents don't want their kids to know some stuff. This is
Well, that is true.
Right.
You're right.
So,
That's right. Especially if they're being molested.
Right.
You're
like,
right.
For instance, they took prayer out of school, and they took the Pledge of Allegiance, which I'm not going to say my views to the point, but prayer. You didn't have to say no prayer. It was a moment, a 2-minute second of silence. Just to get the class to calm down
Right.
over the morning.
You're right.
Nobody ain't really get up and say, our Father who art in heaven, or the Muslim prayer, or the Jewish prayer. Nobody, no teacher ever got up in front of the class and read and took the Bible out or told somebody to read a scripture or something. It was just a 2-second moment of silence to get the class from coming in the
down.
morning,
Yes.
to calm down so
Yeah.
the teacher could take attendance.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You know, I never thought about it that way, but you're right.
So you took that 2 minutes of just quietness out because somebody religiously was upset that they wasn't an atheist or whatever. You have a right to believe whatever you want to believe. But when it comes to where it affects everybody, you gave that person more power over the majority. People that's Muslim, they wear their
The hajib.
they sit in class.
Right.
They just won't participate in what they can't do. But nobody ain't ridicule them or something.
Right.
They understood. This is I can't do it. Okay. That whole moment of silence was for everybody.
Right.
It wasn't no specific group of people. And then you took stuff out of school. A lot of these young people like to cook. There's no more home economics. There's no more shop, everything. Some people might disagree. You have to take a test to get into the vocational schools, right? To do cosmetology, shop, this, that, right? Why? When I might be the best carpenter in the world, I just can't pass that test. But that don't mean I don't know how to put the nail at, measure. Some kids are gifted. I believe if they, from 9th grade, starting 9th grade, remember we used to have it in 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah, I remember.
Right?
Yeah.
Shop, home ec, all that.
Yeah.
I believe if you take put some of these programs back in the public school,
Exactly.
you will have more kids come to school because we're gonna cook today. They're gonna build today. They had the automotive class. Why do they have to take a test to go do that or get in? If you don't pass this, you don't get in. But that doesn't mean this young man
That's true.
don't know how to fix the car.
But it's just a requirement. It's a requirement, and I understand what you're saying about that. But I want to get back to the fact that you're mentioning why we need to put this back into the schools, okay? Because what it's doing for them, they're learning a skill.
That's my point exactly.
Yes.
That's my point exactly.
And that will help them to get employed. They become employable. However, there are some with the majority of the companies, they want you to have certain certifications.
No, listen,
right?
It's understandable. But
Okay.
if you have, we just gonna say, You can do 8th grade, because 8th grade, they mature enough to understand. They might can't go into detail, but we did it when we was, remember we was
Right.
in 8th grade,
Right.
we had shop.
Yes.
You just didn't make no big thing, but you made a birdhouse or a little bookcase or whatever. 4
Right.
pieces of wood, you tapped it, you sanded, all
Right.
that. My thing is, there are solutions. There are solutions. I'm not here to talk about so much of the problem. I'm here to let's exercise some of the solutions, and that goes back to when I say with the cars, with
Right.
the home economics, all that. These are solutions.
Exactly, and I agree with you on that. And we've come to the end of the show.
Okay.
It always go fast, but the solution is that I think that we all need to come together because we all have solutions. You and Tony are doing things. That's a solution. What
Right.
you've been doing for the youth. So we all have something to offer. It goes back to what I said earlier. What are our intentions?
Right.
And my name is Maryam Bay. I'm the host of television, and I'm so happy that Robin came back on once again to talk to us about her story. Thank you very much, and have a great day.